Namaste and welcome to my video. Today we are going to talk about a very, very important topic, and I really felt led to talk about this. So today we are going to discuss something about our dreams. And yes, you read the topic right. Stop ignoring your dreams because they are they are trying to actually help you. In fact, some of the biggest breakthroughs have happened because of dreams. So, dreams are actually much more than, our mind flushing out the scrap or, things that are not needed, right? And from the neuroscience perspective, let's start talking about the dreams. Sleep isn't just clearing the cache, okay? And during sleep, especially the REM sleep that we talk about, the brain reorganizes memories. So, what is reorganizing memories? Like reorganizing memories, it's like, the way we stack our clothes. The memory also does the same thing. So, it is putting the good memories together, the bad ones together, unneeded ones, it's going to take out. And, it forms a novel association. So, novel means new association, which boosts creative insight in a way that it also develops our understanding of the world. It makes us realize things in our lives, okay? And what does REM sleep do in particular? It actually helps us integrate distant ideas, priming creativity and problem solving. So, REM sleep is that form of sleep which happens definitely after a few hours of your sleep that you have actually taken. And at this point of time, I want to tell you that if you are a spiritual entity, if you want to get into spirituality, some of the beginning things that you can do is actually to take enough sleep. If you can take an 8 hour sleep, or at least something more than 6 hours, if you are doing meditation, take a good diet and listen to your body. What your body is trying to tell you, you must listen to it. Because REM sleep is a quality sleep, actually. After a certain point of time, when the body has come to the real rest situation, when the REM sleep starts taking over and your brain gets into a better state and things happen. The part that I said, stop ignoring your dreams because they're trying to help you. So if you go according to the Vedanta, in clearer terms, I would say, so what does it mean? The language for your view. So the Jagrat Avastha is the waking state, the Swapna Avastha is the dreaming state, the Sushupti is the deep sleep, and the Turiya is the fourth, that is pure awareness underneath all states. Something close to what we think of as delta. Okay. And the idea that, your idea of going back to the real source, like the real place we're coming from or the source state, it happens during the, when we get into the deeper forms of sleep, obviously. And it takes you from swapna to sushupti, okay, pointing towards the turiya, the background, the self, the real self, which can only happen on a regular basis if you actually take enough sleep. I'm hoping I've been able to give you a great foundation of understanding why sleep is so important, why dreams are so important, because dreams are actually taking you. It's like, when the mobile switch is off, what do you do with the mobile phone? You put it on charge. It's like we are putting ourselves on charge, going back to the real world, to the source where we have come from. So, useful, terms that, in this connection would be state-based consciousness, okay, and cognition. We go to a certain state where we come out purified with a blend of ideas and, actionable steps for the upcoming, life that we have to spend. So basically, sleep is very, very important, especially getting into the more qualitative aspects of sleep, which will definitely come after a few hours. Okay. So, if you don't, believe what I'm trying to say, that it can lead you to, it can actually help you. So let me give you some examples. First one, the most famous one is Albert Einstein. Okay. Light and his relativity theory. As a teen, Einstein vividly imagined that too in the waking vision. Okay. It's like, closing his eyes and vividly imagining and visualizing, chasing a beam of light. This thought experiment became a seed of special, relativity. It's often retold as a dream, but the scholarly record frames it as a visual thought. Okay. So he would imagine this. He thought that he is imagining this, but this was something that led him further. And It can be called as, something like his daydream. That's what he referred to it as. And whichever fits your answer, that is, but his answer would also arrive in the altered states. In fact, Einstein was known to be carrying this ball, and I've talked about it in a number of my videos. And then the ball would be put with a thread, and whenever he was not able to solve a certain question, he was not getting the required solution or answer, he would lie down on the same sofa in his office, and he would, in his workspace, and he would, put this ball with the thread, and it would keep making the sound tuck 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 tuck. That tuck tuck is now today known as alpha beats, and it would take him to an alternate state where he would get an answer. Okay, so whether consciously or unconsciously, he already knew from his childhood time that there is a space in the mind which can give you an answer, and it's just an altered state that we are talking about at the moment. Another famous example, I think you may have heard or may not have heard. Let me tell you about the sewing machine. Now, I'm sure you must have seen a sewing machine. So, the sewing machine has its needle with the hole towards the end, right? So, and the person, Elias Howe, who made the sewing machine, he had, so he had made the entire thing, okay, made the entire machine, but he was not getting any idea about how to make the needle. So, how exactly should I place it that, it can sew for people, and then people don't have to always use their hands and like take so much time. So, the idea that he saw in a dream that there were many bulls, there were men who were fighting with swords that had a hole towards the end. Okay. And that's how, when he was writing this dream of his early in the morning, like many of us do, many of us spiritualists, we do. And then he realized, okay, why was the hole towards the end? What is this trying to tell me? And you know the answer, because the sewing machine also has its hole towards the end, and that's how it started sewing. And the third story, maybe not many people are into science here, but I would just try to tell you about, how the ring structure of the, this particular element, benzene, was found. It was also found in a dream. Okay. And the person who found it saw that a snake was biting its own end. Okay. So the ring structure. So the dream will not clearly, it's not like, someone will come in your dream and will say, you know what, this is the answer. But there are metaphorical ways of showing you the answer. And if you start writing your dreams, you will start understanding what is being told to you. Okay. So what is the bottom line? The bottom line is that sleep or dream states reorganize information, and they surface patterns. They kind of clarify things to you. Like imagine that you wash off clothes towards the end of a week. Okay. For 7 days, you have washed off all the clothes. You stack them, you press them, and then you keep them. If you have a whole, lot of clothes in front of you, you will not be able to find out where are the socks and where is the hanky. They are very small things. But if you stack them properly, if you press them and keep them properly, then you have everything right in front of you. You can make, these are the white clothes, these are the school uniforms for the kids, and these are this and these are that. So that's what exactly sleep does for us. Coming to the main point, for you to, continue having this curiosity towards the dream life, what are your dreams trying to tell you? Today, I'm going to tell you at least three symbols that you must have seen in the dream. And what are these symbols trying to tell you? The first symbol is that of water. Have you ever seen water? So I would want you to pause here and think about it and then come back perhaps. Water, it may be in form of ocean, river, rain. Sometimes it can be dirty water. Okay. Emotions, and, so what does it actually show? Water shows emotions. Water can show subconscious mind. Water can show the energy flow. Okay. And if it is clear and calm water, it means emotional clarity is there. If it is stormy, of course, it means you're being overwhelmed with emotions. If it's flooding, then emotions are spilling over. So the question that you basically need to ask here is that, where am I resisting or needing to let feelings flow? Let me give you one personal example of a dream that I saw only a few days ago. And this dream had a lot of water element everywhere. Okay. So I saw that I was this, 16-year-old girl, and I'm, walking in a huge ground. Okay. This was, a field actually, and it was almost evening. And then I go and ask a certain person, and this person was actually one of my colleagues, okay, in another school. And I was not even thinking so much about him. But I meet him and I ask him, and now this time I'm only his student, and I'm asking him as a student and asking him, will you drop me to the swimming pool? And he takes me to the swimming pool in his car and he drops me there and he goes away. No conversations happen. Then I see many more females there. Okay, there were many more teenage girls like me over there. And then I see that, okay, there's a swimming pool, but guess what? The swimming pool was not actually a swimming pool, it was an ocean. And you bet there was a part of me that was quite scared to look at the bottomless ocean. Okay, because in the dream I could clearly see that, and between the ocean there were also paths that were made. So these girls asked me, what are you here to do? And I'm giving them answers which I didn't remember by the time I started writing this dream. So there are paths made, and I'm walking inside on the path and I'm looking at, the water, very clear water. But there are also pipes, like very thick pipes inside. And when I look at the pipes, I also feel, oh my God, they look like snakes, and I'm really scared of them and the depth of it. But I'm still very confidently walking on those paths. And I go quite ahead, and then there I see that there is a huge ocean opened up and it doesn't have paths. And I decide, let's go back. Okay, by the time I'm coming back, number of things change. One is that I've already started feeling that I'm wet with water in a good way. Okay, so I'm also feeling a little cold, and it's good. And then it's now evening, and somehow the water is beginning to become dark. Okay. And now I'm just wondering that the water is dark and it would not be good for me to go inside. So let me just go on, go back from where I came. So when I wrote all these things down and I looked at the symbols, the entire list of symbols, and I also took care, help from books and everything, the entire understanding of it was that this was my subconscious mind, the emotions. So initially they seemed clear, and I tried to probe them. And despite knowing that it's endless, okay, I was still comfortable walking the path, and I had made my own path to walk over it. And when I saw the negativity, because the dark water obviously was talking about negative emotions and, so much. So I'm trying to comfortably like walk through them and come through them, and I'm acknowledging that they are there. Because guess what? By the time, till the time you are here on the planet, you definitely have some karma left. You cannot be here when all your karma is done and then you are already close to God. When you're close to God, you will be with God, right? So this was how I interpreted, and those pipes were actually the kundalini, energy, the energy points, the chakras, and all these things which are taking in the energy. So anyway, this was, quite a complex way of understanding. But today I'm going to tell you three simple ways of understanding. So what if you have ever seen such a dream, you can go back and understand that what kind of a water was it? What were your emotions related to it? Okay. Was it clear water? Was it still water? Was it like overwhelming? Were you feeling drowning and things like that? So you got to understand that it's all about emotions. Second thing is about second very, very common dream that everyone gets it is related to rooms or houses. And when you watch these things, it's talking about yourself or your psyche. Okay. Now, when you see new rooms, like let's imagine in the dream you saw that there's a new room, an altogether new room. So they are talking about those untapped talents that you have, you're not using them. Untapped. If there are broken lights or there are plumbing issues and things like that, then it's talking about communication or flow issues. So there are some communication issues or there are some flow issues, because plumbing again is related to water. Or if the lights are not there and things like that, if there's darkness, so then maybe things are not flowing as they should. There's a communication gap, there's a communication or a miscommunication that's happening in your life which you need to tend to. So your mind is trying to metaphorically tell you and do this. If you see an attic, okay, so attic is generally that space uh, which talks about memories, okay, your past memories that you're still carrying. What is the attic in, like in which situation do you see the attic? Okay, most of the times when you think of the attic itself, it comes like, um, filled with dust, old place. So maybe you need to flush out a few memories that are not relevant anymore, which only put you down. Okay. And if you see the basement, then there's a lot of shadow material that exists, and your mind is calling you forward to cleanse the shadows or integrate them into yourself. So a lot of people think that people who have become like, sadhu or sadhvi, people who are living entity of brahmacharya, these are people who have transcended this thing, like transcended any sexual needs, and they cannot be made to change or anything of that sort. Let me tell you the reality. The opposites exist within yourself. Okay. So I'm not trying to say that they are lying. No, they may not need. Okay. So as I know brahmacharya myself, it's not a need, it's not an obsession. But yes, there is a part of me, for that part, it is a need. Okay. So it is which side of the psyche do you choose? And how do you integrate both these aspects within yourself? That is only going to lead to harmony. So, shadow material, when you see a basement, you understand they were talking about shadow material. You need to cleanse, you need to, like, bring them into light. You need to accept. And shadows sometimes can also be golden shadows. Like my public speaking was a golden shadow. I was not aware that I could speak so much and in front of people with confidence, and I could talk about my knowledge and share knowledge with people. Okay. So the question that you're going to ask yourself here is, what room in me needs attention or airing out. Like, once I saw a dream in which I saw that it was a house without, any windows. Okay. So that was quite an old, what do you say? It was quite an old dream. So I could not, this is something like 10 years ago. And my life at that point of time was lacking any kind of air. So there was a lot of suffocation. I had not started dream journaling. I'd not done any courses or read any books on these, but I still understood that it's talking about my present life where I'm being suffocated. Okay. The third symbol that I'm going to talk about here is, bridges and paths. Okay. So you must have seen some bridges and you must have seen some paths, or even so staircases I would not definitely directly, because staircases have other symbols, but in a way if you see that they are connecting one part to another part, then you can consider staircase as well. So they show you when you see a bridge or you see some paths which you have not seen previously in your dream. When you see them, they're talking about some form of transition. Okay. There are some choices you're making. Now, I'm sure some people might remember, and I've been an English educator, so I talk about that. The Road Not Taken, a poem by Frost, Robert Frost. He says that, two roads diverged on a yellow wood, in a yellow wood. And sorry, I could not take both. Okay. So he has to make a choice. He passes by the wood, and obviously, it doesn't mean the wood actually. It doesn't mean the forest. He's saying that there were two roads, and I had to make the choice of going on only one road because I could not go on both the roads at the same time. And I could not even come back and, change. So if you've made a life choice, you can't change it. Okay. You are free to make a choice, but you're not free from the consequences of that choice. Okay. So that's something that, needs to be understood in this dream, that where is it leading you? What is the transition that is coming about in your life? When you see sturdy bridges, like, strong ones, then it's a safe passage. Okay. You've taken the right turn. There's a right transition about to happen. However, if it's shaky or if it is blocked, there are some things, then you understand that there's hesitation on your part. You're not very confident. And if there are forks in the road, that's what I talked about, two roads diverged in a yellow wood. So it's a decision time. If you have two paths in front of you or two bridges in front of you and you have to go on one of them, your mind is asking you to make a choice. So this is the choice time. You got to think intelligently and wisely, collect enough information, and then make the choice. That's what your mind is telling you. So the question that you're going to ask yourself is, what transition am I avoiding right now, or which transition am I actually ready for right now, that the dream is trying to show. Okay. So the idea that, I'm hoping that it really must have helped you, this entire idea of understanding your dreams. And frankly, there are many more um, symbols, because the dream comes in metaphorical symbols only. It doesn't come directly to you and say that, don't do this or do this. In fact, I was wanting to make a video on twin flame dreams also. What does it mean when you see a certain type of, because twin flames do not come always in your dream. They come to you only when it's some extreme situation or when there's a message that they have to give you. Okay. So I'll definitely make a video on that as well. If you have specific questions related to your dream symbols, you can definitely get back to me. And, you can always find the link to contacting me, on my channel. And you can also book sessions, guidance sessions, tarot sessions. And if you want to understand your dream through, just talking to me or even through tarot, all those things are possible. Okay. So the only thing that I would like to tell you towards the end is that you need to reflect on your dreams. The dreams are trying to guide you towards a wise way of living, because if humans could make a structure in the world, do you think that this entire world, which is being run by the divine, is not having a structure? Probably what has happened, and I'm very sure about that, but for you, I'm mentioning this word probably. What actually has happened is that in trying to make a world of our own, we have started forgetting the world that God made for us. God also has a structure which we are ignoring. Dreams are a part of the structure, dreams are a part of the guidance. Instead of getting a phone call from God, the dreams are telling us you should do this or you should not ignore that, things like that. So dreams are not just your thoughts or not just a flushing out of, whatever you're feeling. You're actually remembering who you are. The dreams are actually taking you back to the source, making you remember, who you are. And you must treat your sleep as a daily recharge and, the guidance session wherein you can actually find out what am I supposed to be doing, about whichever problem. In fact, number of times what I've done in my life is, and I was shocked. In the beginning I was shocked, like, by getting the answers immediately as I woke up or in my dreams, was that I placed that question right before sleeping. And then I said, you know God, please answer this. And then I said the question and then I slept. So I used to speak it loudly, and then I would sleep off. Early in the morning, sometimes when I had not, seen the answer in the dream, the answer got downloaded. Okay, this is the reason. And sometimes the answer was related to a past life. So, and because I had already started doing past life regression by that time, I also had a group of people who would help me, go to my past life. And in fact, I had a recorded session as well through which I could go back to my past lives. And you will be shocked to know that all these answers that I got out of the dream proved to be correct when I actually went into regression and deep meditations to find out the truth. Do not ignore your dreams. Start journaling your dreams, whatever you see. Because sometimes when we write our dreams, over the period of time that we see that there is a pattern. And sometimes you will not even need anyone's guidance. This video was made, obviously, to guide you towards not ignoring divine guidance. That's it for today. Signing off, Arunima. Namaste. Thank you so much.